Tell me about the importance of having a faith-based life to really be successful in the ups and downs of your life's journey.
Growing up in the environment that I did, right? Looking at 17 years of my life, my mother getting beat on at least 2 or 3 times a week, right? Us being homeless, us not having all the resources, all the things I went through, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always saw God, because even though we didn't have everything, we had something, and it got us through some of those hard times.
Yeah.
And I was never in a position where we're just desolate, where I knew nothing was going to go right for us. I always have this thing where, he's brung us here for a reason, right, at this point, and we got to learn something and then get on to the next point. And where the faith really kind of drove in is later on. So when we were homeless, there were a lot of times no one would help my mother. No one. We were living out of a Pinto, the 2-door Pinto. We were back in the day. So we were in a
how many
Hunter Green.
Your father, your mother, and how many kids?
My father, mother. No, we would be leaving and running from my father, who was abusive.
Gotcha.
So it's me, my 3 sisters, and my mother in a 2-door Pinto.
Got you.
Right.
Wow.
In the alley of our friend's alley on north side of Chicago, because she wouldn't let us upstairs to live on the floor, to sleep on the couch.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at that point, I told myself at a young age, if I'm ever in a position to help someone, I'll never say no. And that's how I run my business, right? Because I know that God is always providing for me. I'm always in a position where he's providing some type of resource. My brain is able to work. My body's able to work. I have a great analytical, everything's always there. I just have to find out where it is. Most people don't understand. You don't have to have the resources. You just have to be resourceful.
Right.
And all my life, I've been able to believe that if I just keep being resourceful, looking for what is there, he'll provide it for me. There's no...
That's a faith walk right there, bro.
Man, listen, because it always, you go through these situations where you end up getting confirmation on stuff, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw the video of Denzel Washington saying, your dreams are God's confirmation that it's yours already.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
It clicked in my head like, okay, the scripture does say he would never give you sight on anything you couldn't have. So if the dream has been put inside of my head, it's obtainable. It's there for me to have. I just have to get on the right path, walk it the right way, and look for the little things that he puts out there, right, for you to be able to achieve these things. And one of the things you have to do on your journey, and I want everybody to know this, is that sometimes you just have to be quiet, because God doesn't yell, he doesn't scream, and he's not on the top of the mountain yelling with a bullhorn. He's in the quiet places. He's whispering. And if you stand still for a second and get quiet and stop getting out and being in your own head, you can hear exactly where he's telling you to go. And that's what I've been able to do for a very long. It saved my life a couple of times in Chicago.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about an instance, and then we can move on. Right. March of '91, I was in a car with 5 of my friends, smoking weed as a degenerate, mostly in Chicago, right? And we're riding around. We had just finished up, and they were like, "Hey man, let's go get something to eat." I'm like, "Sure, let's go do it." But in the back of my mind, I had just remembered that I had this sandwich, which is an Italian beef sandwich. It's one of the best sandwiches in Chicago. If you're in Dallas, go to Portillo's and order Italian beef sandwich. Right. But I was like, I got one of those at home. I don't need to spend no money. Drop me off at the house. They was like, man, you tripping? No, drop me off at the house. I'll see y'all later. So they dropped me off at the house. So 5 minutes into heating up this sandwich and all that other stuff, I noticed that I didn't have nothing to drink. Now, I don't know if anybody out there has ever smoked any weed or anything like that, but drinking ice water just wasn't going to work for me. Right. So I went ahead and I was like, all right, I'm about to go get an orange crush. So I throw on my jacket. It's March in Chicago, so it's cold. Throw on my jacket, zip it up. I'm walking outside, walk around the corner, and I noticed in the distance, there's some smoke and stuff going on. I get down closer towards the store, and what was going on, there was the car that I was just in no more than 10 minutes ago. They ran right into the viaduct. Their car was on fire. They were incinerated on impact.
Wow, dog.
If you're the sum of the 5 friends you hang around and I was still in that car, who would I be? I wouldn't be here with you on Empower Series, right? A lot of us need to understand the environment that we're in, the friends that we're having, the things that we're thinking, all those things. You're in that car, you're on your way, and if you don't get out very soon, you're going to end up in that same fire that those boys are going to be in. So that's how I live my life, man. I listen for the little things that tell me to get out the car, and I get out as quickly as possible, and I execute.
Cool. So that's speaking to somebody, right?
Yeah,
right.
I hope so.
Look who you're hanging around with right now. In the Empower Series, I always say that we're called to be better stewards of our ideas.
Yeah,
because they come from our Creator, right?
Yep.
Tapping on our subconscious, like Dennis Kimbrough says, saying, "Hey, do you want more out of life?"
Yep.
And so we've got to believe in that, and that would dictate how we spend our time. That would dictate who we spend our time with.
Yep.
And then on that journey, it's not going to be an easy journey, right?
Absolutely not.
Because at the end of the day, things don't get easy, right? All we get is we learn how to do hard better. And we learn how to make hard look easy, but it's still hard, right?
Be okay with the hard. Like, be okay with what the struggle looks like. That's the only way you're going to get through something. How are you going to learn anything if you're not struggling through it? Right. If everything was easy, then we would live in the Garden of Eden. The apple would have never got eaten. We've been amongst God. We'd have been amongst our Father, right? But it's not like that. There's going to be challenges that you're going to face. There's a lot of things going on. You just have to be ready for it and know that storms don't last always, like they say, right? So go in the storm, get wet, find out what's going on in there, learn what you have to learn, and then come back out a different person. But don't get all discouraged because you're in the storm. There's something for you to learn. There's a way for you to get better in the storm.
Right.
And that's the part that I love when I'm like now, I'm in a storm. There's a way for me to get better for the next person that I'm going to meet later on. Everything that you go through now that's a challenge becomes a lesson for the person that you may meet later on.